let's get started. So we got to divide, we have a division of the two groups here. We have group number one, Jared, Rebecca, Noah, Emmy. So you guys will stay in here so that Emmy can tune in. And then the other group, Max, Kaylin, Alyssa, Abigail, will go to my office. You need the 4 chairs in my office, that little table there. And you guys need to work on this. So remember, we're talking about roles and responsibilities. There's at least one group leader, and you got to figure out how are you going to present. So you could assign a presenter. You can be creative on this too. You don't have to just go with the most standard roles. You come up with creative titles for the roles if you want. So you need to set up some basic goals and expectations for your group. You can name your group too, so I don't have to keep calling you group. But basic goals and what are you trying to actually get done? What's your time frame? Performing, when it all is pulled together, then you do have to present it. It's got to be 12 to, what did we say? Like 12, no more than 20, aim for 15. And then at the end, we'll have some takeaways. And the thing that would be helpful to you and to me would be if during the process, if you realize maybe there's some shortcomings, like there's not enough time to actually address this, write that down. Maybe that'll be one of the takeaways we can all share with each other. So team leader, there has to be at least one, will get a lower grade if you don't get a 95 or higher. So that is the reality of life. Things that you can look for, company profile. It would be nice to know a little bit about the company. What problems did they solve? So when we're thinking about innovation, remember we talked about entrepreneurism. This isn't necessarily an entrepreneurial venture, but they're obviously, if you look at any of their marketing, they're obviously trying to solve some things. They're trying to do something maybe different than their competitors. They're trying to, what's their competitive advantage? What is their, what you'd call value added proposition? Like why would you spend 100 on theirs instead of spending 100 on someone else's? Maybe be able in your presentation to tell me who had what roles without throwing each other under the bus, like they did this and they did nothing. That won't be good. But roles and work distribution, you could tell me that. You don't have to though. Creativity, it has to be creative, but I don't want this to be like the mother of all projects, which would be M-O-A, MOPE. I don't want this to be a MOPE. It needs to be, a quality project, but I'm keeping it short and keeping it like trying to give you some class time to work on this. So you realize that multiple people working on one thing, the synergy, you're going to just get so much farther. There's that verse in Amos or Joel where it says, basically kind of a 2-part rope, is strong, but a 3-part rope is unbreakable. That's the kind of the ancient idea of synergy. When you put multiple things together, you don't just double. So when you put 3 parts together, you don't just triple something, you exponentially multiply the strength times 100. It's just kind of one of the laws of nature God's created. And then anything you can do that's a little special, something that, that's why I have one creative person on each team, because if you only had people that are like detail people, you'd be checking all the boxes, but there might not be any creativity. If you had all the creative people on one side, you might have a super creative thing and not have any detail. So that's why we have divided up the way we have. We already talked about the 5 stages here, the team roles. You can look at the attachment. So I'm going to leave you to it. So the team that's going to my office, Max, Kaylin, Alyssa, Abigail, my door's unlocked. You guys go in there and work on it. And basically, you have the whole class period to work on it. When class is done, you're dismissed. Matter of fact, why don't you come back in here at 11:45, and then I'll dismiss you from here. So I'm going to keep the Zoom running, though, for Emmy. Oh, wow, you got 2. So it's just Jared and Rebecca. Man, you guys are going to really
get a lot done.
I'll tell you what, why don't we do this? Why don't I switch?
We don't need them.
Wow.
Yeah, we're
You
good.
and Rebecca are gonna
We're good.
handle this? Okay, all right.
We're good.
Rebecca, you're probably gonna regret.
I've already built a vengeance.
No, we do. We really do.
I'll give it all to Jared. He'll do it all.
Okay.
No,
all right.
this is Team Rebecca, and we're going to win.
Okay. All right, everyone else, get out of here. At least Emmy's able to come in verbally,
Why do you
so.
have to point out stupid things like
See you
that?
later. So just come back in here at like 5 minutes before class is over, so we can kind of all.
Can I go
go
over
team.
there so we don't have to shout at
Do
the
it.
table?
Please.
No,
show. You need to take the other head of the seat.
And I'll zoom in really close on Jared's face so it feels like you're sitting right next to him, okay?
I'll sit right in front of the screen.
Here you go. Are you guys gonna use the whiteboard?
Yeah, we'll use this.
Yeah.
Oh, we
We'll
are?
use this stuff right here.
Oh, you will? Okay, yeah. All right, thank you.
I don't have my laptop, so I guess I'll pull up the assignment.
Emilia.
Hello.
Camera.
How are you?
Oh, just fantastic, you know. Love sitting in sweats in my room instead of being in class, so it's great.
Do you
But I
have a
do miss
chair-
being in person. What?
do you have a chair to sit in?
I do, but I don't want to go out and sit in it.
Are
Just
you-
sitting in my room.
What are the symptoms like for you, if you can indulge?
Well, okay, so it's been like over the course of a few days. So like Wednesday, I've had a headache since Wednesday. And then I've just been tired, and I thought it was just because like for volleyball practices, they've been like every single day and they've been pretty intense. So I just thought I was just tired from that. And then I had like slight chills on Wednesday, but like I just didn't really think anything of it. I thought it was just cold because I'm always cold. And then the chills went away Thursday, and I was just like really tired yesterday, and I had a headache still. So we were gonna have a volleyball party, but we decided to postpone it so that like people could rest up and everything. And then this morning, I didn't notice that like I was in the shower, and then I couldn't smell my shampoo, and I was like, ooh, why can't I smell anything? So I was like panicked. I was like, oh great, now I'm not going to be able to like go to classes and everything. So I couldn't smell anything, and then I could still taste this morning. So I was like, okay, I let the nurse know and everything. And then after like the chapel hour, so like around 10, I couldn't taste anything. So I was like, okay, this is great. So it just
That's
On
not
my
progression.
yeah. Oh, sorry, my sound went away.
I was about to say, are we like,
That was odd.
we're getting some interference from one of those satellites.
And now with
Okay.
regionals, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can't do regionals either.
Yeah.
Bummer, but it's okay.
Beginning of the season and the end of the season now, right? At the beginning, you were out as well. Correct?
A minute, I couldn't hear you. Sorry.
You were out at the beginning of the season too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, fun times.
Yeah.
Let us know if you need anything.
Mhm.
Food
Got a lot of
is,
minions, so
Yeah.
I have a couple people getting like meals for me and everything. So
good.
yeah. But me and my roommate are both stuck in here right now. So she has like a TV for our apartment, so we brought the TV in our room. We're gonna plan on watching Disney Plus and everything while we can. So
The move.
always party.
Hit that sucker up. Okay, I've got if you run out of things to watch or things that you are looking for on Disney Plus, hit up Gargoyles. Like, it's an old Disney animated show, and it is the bomb. So
I've never heard of that, so maybe I will try that.
it is well worth the investment.
Good.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Glad I know now.
And the theme is so awesome. Okay. So we don't have Noah with us right now, who is
Yeah.
our third or fourth counterpart, however we look at it. And so I was thinking over like what to do, how to put the team together. And my suggestion was going to be, Noah did a really good job with his research for the project. I was going to suggest that he be one of the researchers.
Yeah.
But tell me what you feel about this, the both of you. I was going to suggest that you, Emmy, be the leader of the group, because you have leadership skills that have gone over, that you've done stuff like this before. You do very well with being able to lead and guide a group. And I was going to suggest that you be kind of the head of this project. What do you think?
I am totally fine with that. And I know you like presenting as well. You like doing stuff like that. So I don't know if you were on the same page with that, but I know because I think you're able to articulate things a little more, at least better than I could articulate it. So I'm also more of like behind the scenes, like team lead type thing. So like I would be better like helping you guys get everything organized rather than like presenting it. So I'm okay with that. That's totally fine with me.
Good deal. Good deal. Yeah, I was thinking that, I'm always talking, and so might as well be talking about something productive. And Rebecca, you could do the leadership if you wanted to, but I know that you like taking probably more of a backstage approach to things. And so, Emmy, I think you are very well equipped to lead us across the finish line. And I know it's not a competition, but it's so a competition. So.
As long as we don't get less than a 95, we're great.
It's true.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm okay with taking the 10%. That's totally fine.
Yeah, we will request to also have 10% taken off if that happens.
Please just take it off mine too.
Yeah. Oh, sacrifice me as well. Okay, so please, Emmy, do you have the project in front of you? Like
I do.
on Canvas? Okay, sweet. So I will let you take it and just run with it. We will give our input and we will help you out however you need to. So fire away, Kat.
All right. So I just got to read over everything. I guess one thing that we need to establish first is like the type of stakeholder we're going to be talking about. So I know probably one of the easiest things to approach it at, like type of stakeholder to approach it as, would be like a customer, because it's kind of like someone that's outside of the company, doesn't really know a lot about it. So you're able just to give input upon input and like just information overload to them. I guess not overload, but you just keep giving them information because they don't necessarily know a lot about the company itself. But I'm trying to think, what are some other types of stakeholders that we could approach, just so that we have like a list of potential audiences so that we're able to kind of formulate this project to see.
Well, since we are choosing one for Professor Baldwin to be, I mean, it's good to look into the other ones, but I think you hit it on the head with the customer being the easiest and also most versatile, because we can go into the company's history. We can go into their like the company's personality. We can go into their products. And so, and also that's what we would be first. So like I've been a Brooks customer before. And so I've got experience there buying one pair, but I think that's our best option. You think?
I just Googled other types of stakeholders just so I could know the other ones. But I think it's really, like, a couple of them are pretty interesting. So you got number one, customers, of course. Have the employees, investors, and then suppliers and vendors, communities, and then governments. So if we wanted to take a little more obscure, I guess not really obscure, but like a different approach to it, we could do something like, employees and then suppliers and vendors. Because I think suppliers and vendors, especially if you're picking someone like a new supplier for, a different type of rubber to put on the bottom of a shoe or something like that. Like if you're trying to find a new vendor, then you're able to approach it as a customer where you market your company and you still give them the history and what you're all about and everything like that. But you're also able to focus on a specific portion of what you're trying to sell in order to, so instead of like the broad range of like, this is our company, this is everything we sell and everything like that, you can focus specifically on what the vendors might be interested in or what the suppliers might be interested in. But what do you guys think about that?
I'm trying to be Rebecca. I feel bad.
I think customers would be a good one, because I think you could go a couple different directions. Customers and straightforward, easy to understand. Like
Okay, that's totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, I like the approach of possibly doing something a little more intricate or a little bit more out of the box, but He said this wasn't supposed to be a mother of all project.
Yeah.
Employees would be good too, I think.
Yeah.
One of those.
That would be interesting. It would just take a little more effort, probably more effort than we should probably put into this to get the perspective of an employee.
Yeah.
Because that stuff isn't like readily listed on their website besides, I love working at Brooks.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So.
Yeah, can you hear us okay? I'm talking like I'm a deaf fella.
Yeah, I can hear you guys fine. You're good.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess and the storming part of things, obviously we have things done in that aspect, just that we have roles handed out. So norming, set basic goals and expectations. So obviously, I guess in expectation wise, we would want to obviously hit the goal. So do a really good presentation and give a lot of information and do it also in a way that is unique to our team. So obviously we don't want to just have Jared stand up there with a piece of paper and read it off and then, I mean, that's not how you present it all, but like just baseline type thing. We don't want to just you present things in a more professional way. So I don't think I could ever see you reading from a piece of paper and then sitting down and being done.
Thank you. I don't think that y'all would have me do that anyway. I do have a question for you. So we've got you as the leader, me as the presenter, and for Noah and Rebecca, I know that we have. I mean, we get it easy with a very capable team. Anybody can do pretty much any of these. I know that we're stronger in some areas, but we don't have compiler and designer.
Yeah.
Set.
So,
Rebecca, do you find something?
Well, I mean, I feel like me and Noah can almost both research and we can both, I don't know, I feel like we can both do a lot of things.
I think it would be really good for us to have.
I feel like we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
researching isn't going to be that difficult. It's not going to.
Would the two of you be okay with like researching, like talking to each other, figuring out the different aspects that you want to research, and then together compiling, and
yeah,
that way
it kind of goes.
Because those, I imagine that those kind of all you'll kind of.
Yeah, because I feel like if we just research and are like here, compile, like I feel like that wouldn't. Yeah, we could do that.
Well, I will have a part in at least observing the design, if that's okay. Just because to understand the design better helps me present better.
With designing, what does that entail? Is that going to be like how we present?
Like how you put together.
Research?
Yeah, basically when you compile all the information together, it needs to be in a way that is clear for whoever is watching the presentation to understand through your research.
Right. Okay.
So if we wanted to do a PowerPoint but I would give that to you and Noah as your preference.
Well, what do you like presenting better? Would you like the PowerPoint?
So
I
have one input. I think with the design part, I think obviously with researching and compiling, so Noah and Rebecca would be able to get all that done because I think you need to have a hand in both in order to like properly research things. Like you can't just be a compiler and just bring in everything one person says because like sometimes things are written in a way that like the researcher might understand, but the compiler might interpret a different way. So I think it'd be good, like obviously have both of them kind of have a hand in both aspects of that. And then obviously have Jared be, and I guess all of us, it's really important for us to be in the research part of it, at least be clued in a little bit. But designer wise, like once you have everything, and obviously it'll be easier once we're in class all together, but once we have everything compiled, we can give the information to Jared since like you know the type of style, like it'll be easier for you to like kind of design the PowerPoint itself with the information they have because you'll be presenting right off of it. So it'd be different if like I designed the PowerPoint and then you see it like a couple of days before you present and you're just like, oh, I don't know if like, this is something that, I don't know. But I find it easier presenting off of something that I've designed and I've done already myself. So would it be easier for us to like spend a class period communicating the stuff that Noah and Rebecca have researched and compiled together.
Yeah, if we get all the research and then we bring it and we talk about it and then figure out how we want to, even just telling all the information, just deciding what we want and then how we all want to.
I
And
think
how we want to structure the presentation.
Yeah.
Because I think you can't.
To work with my style of presentation, the way that I think the way that we could do that, and then also like apply to my little personal quirks and whatever, is if you and Noah do the research and then compile the information into basically like a Word document with main bullets and then
Like an outline type
subpoints.
thing?
Yeah, like an outline.
Mhm.
Then we all as a group can go over it in a class period, and then I can become very familiar with all that information.
Mhm.
And then you and Noah can design a PowerPoint with very simple bullets.
Right.
Like if it was a screen, it has one picture on it and then 3
Bullets.
points.
Yeah, and
But
that's
like-
usually how I make them. I hate when
Yeah.
they're paragraphs. It's just,
Yeah, nothing, I don't want them
Not
to
too
really
big.
even read the
Yeah.
bullets. It's
Yeah.
just for me to be like, here's the
this
1,
is
2,
what
and
I'm
3.
talking about next. Yeah.
Right. And because you put together an outline, I know, and I'm more of a flow of consciousness
Mhm.
speaker anyway.
Mhm.
So as long as I'm well informed on the information, I can
Right.
just go through that PowerPoint and be like, this thing, and then it brings up those
Mhm.
points in my mind. So it doesn't need to be anything
So a very
fancy.
simple, clear cut PowerPoint.
Yeah.
And I think with presentations like this, it's really good to have a PowerPoint that's not chock full of, graphics and lots of words and everything like that. So, I mean, when I was in high school, this is like freshman year of high school, something like this. It shows that it stuck with me, but also it might be a little dated. But like my teacher always told us that if we do bullet points on like a PowerPoint presentation, it shouldn't be more than like 10 words. So it should be a reference for someone. So like the amount of like, with limited words, you have to get your point across. And so like if someone just looks at the bullet point, they kind of know what you're talking about. But it also is like a prompt for you. So when you look at that, you're like, okay, like this is what I need to talk about. So you see the bullet point and you're able to expound on it through what you already have in your mind, like the information research that you already have. But
If the presenter read off all the stuff that was written on the screen, then it shouldn't make a cohesive statement. You
Yeah.
should have to explain it, because otherwise, why do you have the presenter there to begin with?
exactly.
But like graphics, like charts and stuff like that,
Mhm.
those are always great.
Mhm.
Like if you can have, like I was looking up on their website, they've got over 100 years of thinking on their feet. So they've been around since 1914.
Right.
And so if you just had like a list of the different shoes that they made through the time periods, then we could be like,
Mhm.
hey, customer, this, if this is something we did.
Yeah.
And so instead of it being like sentences and whatever, but yeah, we'll get to that, of course. Okay, sweet. Emmy, thank you for stepping back to that. We can go on to norming now.
All right. So, with norming, trying to think of where to approach this. This is a very broad section of the, like just what goals we want. Because obviously you don't want to have like, let's do a good presentation as a goal. Because like that's kind of a given type thing. But I think we need to have,
Get nice grade.
yes, get good grade.
They're nice.
Very nice. But I think, I guess I really want to hear from you guys to hear what kind of like let's think of expectations that we would have for the presentation itself, and then we can also go into expectations that we have for team members themselves. Because I think some like obviously get good research, do like to perform our roles properly is a good expectation to have. But I think it's good for all of us to hear what expectations we have for each other in order to know whether or not we're hitting the expectations, whether we're doing a good job and everything like that. And I think it's good to hear feedback at the beginning before there might be problems at the end. So let's say that Rebecca's completely slacking on research and everything, and like if we set that expectation at the beginning of the project, like we wanted, like we should have this much research done by this day type thing. So she would have a quote unquote excuse being like, well, you never said when you wanted this research to be done. You just said to get it done. So in all reality, if we don't have expectations set, she could get the research done the day before the presentation, and like it would be justified almost. It's a bad approach, but it'd be justified because we didn't set a clear expectation.
Yeah, that's good. Let's do the group expectations first, and then we can get into the particular roles.
So obviously the research is gonna have to be first, because that's how we get to the end.
Well, what do
So
you
let's
want to see from the overall project? If we have the perfect project finished and completed, what does it look like for you?
Open-ended question. Well, the goal of the project, he said, you want to win me over as a stakeholder. That's the overall goal. So as we present, or as we think of researching, we have to keep in mind, how can we get him to want to?
And I think going off of that, like a good product will sell itself. So we shouldn't be forcing this product to be like forcing the customer to be like, okay, you do like this product. I promise you like it and you will like it and everything like that. I feel like we need to use like we shouldn't obviously be forcing it on the stakeholder per se, but we should just be able to use, the facts that we have. And obviously we need to market it well. And we can't just be like, all right, here's a paper that has like everything that's good about this company, read it and get back to me type thing. But I think we need to be able to use the high points of the company itself to kind of help market itself instead of trying to like force it on someone. If that makes sense. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah. So we have to believe in our product. So we need to trust that we have a product that is worth buying. And so instead of trying to convince it's just a mindset of confidence. So yeah, and I think in today's modern age, the day that we live in, brand loyalty is a really big thing. And so if we maximize on brand instead of product, I think you'll get a better reaction from a modern stakeholder. So or customer.
Yeah, that's a good thought.
So I guess like just I have right now like obviously use the research that it provides, but highlight its strengths because like not every company is going to be perfect. So it's kind of like a job interview. Like you want to highlight your strengths, but I think every employer knows that you're going to have weaknesses and there's going to be things that you're not as good at that someone else might be good at everything with that, but you want to be able to market your strengths. So,
That's the great thing about us selling this idea to a customer stakeholder is all we have to do is look at how Brooks is marketing, because that's them trying to win over the stakeholder. So we can check and see how is Brooks marketing their stuff. I know that it's probably not low prices because their shoes are a little pricey, but they've
there's something about the shoes that makes it worth paying. Like right now I'm looking at a pair of tennis shoes that are $130. Like obviously there's something about these shoes that makes it worth $130.
Well, they're really nice. They're extremely comfortable. They are made for running. And so like that's what they've turned into. And you'll see that on the history of their company, like they started off with bath and ballet shoes, whatever the heck bath shoes are. But then they did like cleats and roller skates, football cleats, children's shoes. And then they got into running, which is what they do now. And it's basically like, hey, these shoes will give you golden feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know much about it, but it looks very personalized too. Personalized footwear built for your run, like everything is for the customer.
Yeah, it's
very.
I think we should, because I don't know, obviously I haven't really read a whole lot about it, but I wonder if they have any like promotion type things. So like I know some, like this is nothing to do with shoe companies, but I know like whenever we go out to eat for like sports, a lot of restaurants have coaches eat free, coaches and bus drivers eat free type thing. So when they have like a program that's like specifically geared towards people that are like coaches or is like a pro athlete type thing or something like that. Like, I wonder if they have special promotions in that aspect that we could highlight. Because I think a lot of customers, like someone that's just getting into running might not, you know, be a coach, but something like that might make them more sensitive to the product because obviously they care about the people that they like care about the people that are their customers and everything like that, and they want to help out the community and everything like that. And they have a lot of community service endeavors. So like a lot of them, they have like a list of them, but they have like Habitat for Humanity, Northwest Harvest, Seattle's Ronald McDonald House. Like they have a lot of charities as well that they invest in. But like I think that's a really good aspect of research that we could look into, just how it appeals to the customers, whether it's personally or it's something that's something that people can look into and everything. But
Well, the big push is they've turned into, you know, basically just running shoes, and that's their big deal. And like you said, they have a Brooks Inspiring Coaches program. And that's underneath their This is Brooks tab, which is very, very large. So there's, on their website, there's a lot of research stuff on their purpose, history, company, careers. Then they've got athletes, social good, corporate responsibility.
yeah,
Then they've got a booster club and stuff like that. So they have just absolutely embraced the running community. So when we're looking at selling this to our investor or Professor Baldwin, we're going to be looking at it like, hey, you run. I don't know if he does or not, probably, maybe. He bikes at least. I think he runs. So anyway, we'll be like, hey, you, the runner, need Brooks because, and here's why. And then there's all these options to go off of. And then we can sell the company because, hey, we make the best running shoes. Hey, we care for the running community. We're like the blue bottle of coffee for shoes.
For shoes.
I found this whole timeline because it's under, where did I find it? It's under their tab. I'm trying to find it, so I'm trying to talk slow, but I don't think I can. Okay, it's under the running innovation tab, and then you click the personalized footwear, and they have like a whole timeline about the different types of tennis shoes that they make. So they have like diagonal roll bar, kinetic wedge. Like there's maybe there's some way in the presentation that we could focus on that. So like we could, like what part of the presentation, like of the company do we want to focus on the most? Because obviously we want to put bits and pieces of like the history and then the products that they have. And they do have a lot of like running clothes as well. So there, we could probably touch on that too. But do we want to focus more on the shoes themselves? Or do we want to focus on just the products in general?
I want to hear what you guys think, but I would like to see it as maybe a 65 what's the other percent of that? 35 split between 35% products, 65% company. Because
You mentioned culture before.
right, their culture, I think, and I know that would connect with Professor Baldwin. I hope it's not cheating, but if we focus on the culture, then we can include those other products. Like I know they make running bras and they make running, I'm sure they make other running clothes.
Yeah, they have like shorts and leggings and that.
Yeah. And so it would be too much to go into all those different products, but if we had like a good section where we explained the technology of the shoes, because you got to have a good product to build a good brand, not a expensive brand like Supreme or something like that. Terrible products. But this stuff, I mean, they put a lot of work and a lot of effort into the technology of the shoes so that the running community will have confidence in the product that they buy and will come back for more. So if we hit on that, that'll be like a really good uppercut for selling it to our investor.
So we can hit on how good the shoes are and how good the product is, and then like explain why, you mean?
Yeah, basically like, hey, these are other, like, you know what a running shoe is. Here's the technology in our running shoes that makes it so much better.
That's it.
Then just explain it like, and then we can show some of the charts that they have on here or some of the technology that they've done and be
Yeah, I
like,
saw.
yeah,
They have testimonials on here. I found there's a couple of testimonials too. So if we wanted to incorporate that into the product itself, because I think it's always good to have like an outside opinion on a product. So like a company is obviously going to say a lot of really good things about their products. They don't want to be like, well, we've got good shoes, but the shoelaces break a lot. So that's one thing that's a problem. But like, I think it's really good to hear about, like, even if we, in order, I guess, to help our own research, we might not need to put this in a presentation per se, but I think it's always good to research outside of what we're looking at so that we have a better grasp of what we're trying to present. But I think looking at different reviews to just see like what other people say about the company, because you know,
That's a good idea.
yeah, because like I said, like people are gonna put good testimonials and stuff like that on their websites. Sorry. But I think it's good, like, even just go on Amazon and look up Brooks shoes.
I was literally just doing that.
There we go. But like, just to look up what other people say, like, not even for the purpose of presenting it to the stakeholder, whatever holder, but also present it, like, just so that we know ourselves about the product.
that's a good point. I think you're right with leaving that out of the presentation itself. Maybe what you could add into the presentation, or what we could add in there, would be a compilation of all the reviews that we've seen, basically like a study, and be like, hey, 95% of interactions with this company are positive, or something like that. And so that would be really good for a shareholder, instead of saying like, hey, sorry, I can only think Becky in, you're not Becky. Becky in Florida likes this shoe, and here's why she likes it. I think it would be good to be like, hey, the United States, yeah, customer satisfaction is 4.5 stars across the board. I think that would be really good. They're coming in 2 minutes. Gotcha.
And I think that, you know how like in some YouTube videos when they're like different, you know, tweets from different people about like during the video, like this is what people have to say. I think it'd be really cool that kind of have not really a entire slide committed to that, but kind of have like a point in the presentation where we have like these different reviews and everything, just to be able to highlight the good things about like the shoe itself, and just be able to show like, see, like people outside of like on the website, people outside of the Brooks website specifically have a lot of really good things to say, everything like that.
I'd say if we did do that, we'd have to keep it really brief and really thorough. So if we did something like that, have maybe 20 plus reviews that were all on the same slide, that basically gave a bit of evidence for the claim that people really enjoy and really love the shoe. And if we can get high profile individuals, that would be really cool. I know that there are some YouTubers like Casey Neistat. He runs pretty much exclusively with Brooks.
And he's really well known too.
Yeah, he is GQ Man of the Year 2014 and all that. So if we get high profile people like that, then we can just have those on there and brush over it. Like, and look at all these reviews that we have from so-and-so, whatever, and then just move straight on through that. Like it didn't even matter, and be like, and here we can see that 95% of interactions with Brooks are positive, blah, 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 blah. So it's the stuff that stacks on each other to be able to give you a really good, punch of evidence.
One last really quick thing. I was looking at the reviews on Amazon, and I actually found something that's really interesting, because like obviously they're known for running shoes, but there's a review from a nurse who said that the shoes were like a lifesaver for her. she is on her feet like 12 hours a day, obviously as a nurse, and she said they don't hurt when she comes home from work. They like she says she feels like she has more energy just because her feet feel good after a shift. She said they're well worth the money. And then like she said she has wide feet, and I think people that have like wide feet and finding shoes that are like look good and are very functional is sometimes difficult. But she said that there's no tightness around like the toe box and everything, and the sizing is like perfect. So I think we can also look at it like try and find some things from people that are runners primarily, because that's what it's marketed towards, but also towards people that are like on their feet all day, not necessarily running around all the time, but they're constantly walking and they're constantly standing and putting in charts and everything.
Yeah, and I mean, I can even throw in a little blip about like I'm a security guard here on the campus, and I used to wear my Vans high tops, and because I love my Vans, but walking around in those versus Brooks was night and day. So now I wear Brooks and look like a middle-aged dad. So okay,
But your feet feel good.
yeah, but my feet feel great, and I can chase after bad guys. So, yeah, and that's all the way down to norming. So all we have to do is the performing, and at the end we'll bing bang
I'm not
boom.
even paying attention, you guys. So whatever you do, I'm sure it's gonna be great.
Oh, please, you
Of
will be
course.
thoroughly impressed. Yeah, Emmy, is there anything else that you can think of that we need to do now besides, enact the plan that we've come up with next time we meet?
I think next time we meet, I think we kind of have like a general expectation for the So I think next time we meet, we should do individual expectations and then work on like research and stuff like that.
Yes, tell us all your ideas.
And
Yeah,
then
good
we
deal.
can
Go ahead, Amy.
go
Sounds
from
good.
there.
I can't believe we got a hold of that. Nobody else would be able to. Sounds very official.
I've got an in on the company, so you guys, the other team's really, oh, hi, other team.
And we emailed the CEO. He said, I'll get back to us soon.
You emailed him? You just missed him. He was in here.
I think, well, I had a friend that worked at Brooks he worked at the office in, oh man, it's a suburb of Boston.
Where do you not have a friend?
That is a good question.
You know 4 chiropractors here.
Yeah, you're like that guy on the movies, like, oh, I know a guy.
Yeah, I know a guy. I do know a guy. I really know a guy. There was a guy in our church that worked for Brooks. I met him for lunch, and I went to the wrong Brooks location. There's more than one office up there. So, but obviously, anyway, I like Brooks shoes. I think they're some of the best. There are some that might be able to compete, but the Brooks Beasts were the first like really great shoes for bigger guys that like to run long distance. So, and then now they've got all these other ones that work really well. So anywho, they're really nice. I can't wait for your presentations. All right, well, we're gonna wrap it for today, but then when we come to class on Monday, we're gonna pick it up wherever you guys just left off. So I'm assuming, Emmy, you'll still be on Zoom, on Monday and maybe longer. So we'll probably do the same thing. So we'll start in here, kind of make sure we're all heading the right direction, and then the noisy group go back to my office and less noisy group staying here. All right? Any questions?
Okay.
Don't forget about the not so final exam project, because it would be to your advantage to go ahead and start knocking that out now, so that maybe you add one more thing to it when you're done with this project or whatever. But if you can knock out stuff so you're not working on when all the other projects are due, that's why I gave it to you early.
What was that project? Well,
You forgot? Wow.
It's like the biggest project of your life, and you have one for every one of my classes. So
It's like,
listen.
oh, was that like compiling
the biggest projects
Yeah,
of your life right now.
So putting together the things that you learned, the biggest thing, okay, I get that.
And you can literally go to previous submissions in Canvas, and I don't mind if you cut and paste them, but you do have to reference where you got them from. And you have to adjust the language so it doesn't literally look like you just cut and paste it. You have to say, you have to kind of change it a little bit, but generally.
For myself, I cut and pasted
Yes,
quote.
yes. That's
Cite myself.
cut and pasted your grade.
If I like said something mildly interesting, am I allowed to
You
like
can
quote
quote
myself?
yourself, absolutely.
How arrogant.
I do it all the time. As I say, I do it all the time. Yes. So yeah, you can quote yourself, no problem. Just like
colleague.
relate it to what topic we were dealing with at the time. Okay, so should be good to go. But for this class, it is worth big points. Some of the other classes worth even more because we have less grades. This class just happens to have a lot of little grades. So some of your assignments are like 5 points, 10 points. This is worth 100 points. In other classes, all the assignments are worth like 50 or 100, so it's worth 250 points. So, alrighty, okay, see you later. Except for those of you that are staying.